So today I am going to cover another topic called tax on sales purchase. Tax on sales purchase, generally this setting or this configuration we do for all indirect taxes. Previously I have covered a topic called withholding tax that was for direct taxes. Now this is for indirect taxes. If we have a look in past, then we had multiple indirect taxes, say for example VAT, CST, service tax, uh, custom duty, octroi, and so many things were there, excise duty and all. Now these all things become past, and recently, just few months before, a month or two before, the government of India has launched this GST, goods and service tax. It means whatever the multiple indirect taxes were there, instead of these all taxes, they will have only one unified tax, that is called goods and service tax. Now, so here, when earlier, when the multiple taxes were there, then configuration in SAP, it was bit typical, bit difficult. We cannot say difficult, but of course some typical configurations were there. But right now it become very, very, very simple because we are having only one tax, and for that number of GLs are also reduced, and so many configuration steps also reduced. So now I'll just give you a few examples and then we'll start the configurations. So if we talk about indirect tax called GST or whatever the real tax were there, so broadly this is categorized, this is divided into two parts. One is called input tax and second is output tax. So what is this input tax or what is this output tax? I'll just let you know. It's pretty simple. Input tax means whatever the taxes which was applicable or which is applicable on purchase. This is input. On sales, whatever taxes are applicable, that is called output. Now, in order to make it easy, or in order to make you people in order to make you understand easily, input tax means input tax, the tax which is levied or charged during purchase. Indirect tax I'm talking about, guys, not direct taxes. And output tax is a tax which is collected on sales. Input means, in a simplest way, whenever it's a simple to say funda. I'm just going to give you to make you understand in better way. Whatever purchase we are making, it means something is coming in within inside of organization. Output tax, when you sell something, something is going out of your organization. In this way also you can understand, you can keep in your mind that okay, input means purchase, output means sales. Now, so here for input also we are having now GST itself. For output also we are having GST itself. Okay, now say for example, even if we purchase something, now vendor is going to charge, like vendor has sent, let's suppose if we purchase something during purchase, of 1000, let's suppose vendor is going to charge 10% GST. So we have to make payment of total, say for example 1100, or else if it is inclusive, then a different calculation is there. Now, during sales also, if we are selling something, then we are also going to charge certain GST, goods and service tax from customer. Let's suppose we have purchased something from vendor, we charged, we paid GST, and if we are going to sell something, we have to, again we are going to what to say, charge certain GST from customer also. And when we talk about tax credit, then of course that is a different concept once again. Let's suppose during sales we have sold a goods worth of, let's suppose 700 or 1000 once again. Okay, and here we collected, or we sold a goods worth of, let's suppose 2000, and here also we collected 10%. If we collected 10%, so we have paid how much? 100 rupees, and we collected 200 rupees. So tax doesn't belongs to us. It's not like that whatever tax we have collected, that we are going to keep in our pocket. Of course we have to make this payment to the government, and whoever the authorized department and department is there, the tax department of. So now 200 collection is there and 100 we have already paid. So what will happen here? During payment of this tax, whatever the 200 is there with us, because this 100 rupees we have already paid to somebody, whom we have paid to a vendor. So it's the responsibility of vendor. They are going to submit or deposit that amount. When we talk about our, in the sense, I'm talking on behalf of Tata Motor, that's your company code. So Tata Motor has collected 200. So what will happen? They are not going to deposit all 200. They will apply for credit. Why? Because out of 200, 100 already they have paid here. During purchase itself, they have purchased certain things, and based on that, they have prepared a final product. And during sales, they have collected 200. So out of 200, 100 already they have paid for. So the amount which they have paid, for that they are going to apply a credit, input credit or whatever you can say, and remaining 100 rupees they are going to make payment. So whatever this 100 rupees is there, that will be treated as a asset, and this is our liability, because this is our payable. And this 100 which we have paid already, this is even though we have paid to the vendor, but this we are going to claim, as a refund. So this is our asset, and whatever the output GST is there, that is your liability. Now here, if you talk about, let's suppose any amount, I'll just take like 1000 sales, 1000 sales of 1000. Okay, this is, I'm just giving you a scenario of sales. I'll remove this one. Okay, here I'll just, so 1000 worth of, let's suppose 1000 worth of goods we have sold to somebody, and on that, the amount tax percentage is 10%. It means 100 rupees. 10% we are going to charge, that is 100 rupees. So whatever this 100 is calculated, 100 we are going to calculate this 100 rupees on which amount? On this 1000 rupees. This 100 rupees will be calculated on which amount? On this 1000 rupees. So now here, let's suppose this 1000 rupees. This 100 we have calculated on this 1000. So this 1000 rupees is called base amount. This 1000 rupees is called base amount. Okay, on this base amount we have calculated 100 rupees. Okay, now creation of tax procedure for tax procedure means whenever a tax calculation is going to happen, that is going to happen based on the tax procedure itself. So during configuration I'll let you know guys how to create a tax procedure. So if you talk about tax procedure for this GST, it's very pretty simple. Now I'll just add one more scenario here, because we know that our Indian government, whether it any government, they're very extremely fond of collecting more and more taxes from uh, the citizens and all. Now here they are having GST, let's suppose 10%. Five different kind of GSTs are there: 5%, 12%, 18%, and some 30 or 28% something is there. So now in that, like, I have made it 10% for easy calculation. Okay, now so 10% they have charged, they're charging GST 10% on certain goods. Now whatever the purchase Tata Motor is having, let's suppose on all the item 10% tax is applicable. Just assume what will happen within a year or two, it's guaranteed that they are going to levy certain, or they are going to add a certain cess on this. That is the habit of our government. Whenever anything, let's suppose if they are going to launch a new idea or something, then some fund is required. What will happen, how they are going to raise a fund, then with that name they are going to add certain cess. Right now let's suppose 10% GST they are collecting on all the sales, let's suppose, or some certain product, 10% GSTs are there. Now what will happen, government will say that okay, you do one thing, 1% cess also we are going to collect. And it will happen this year they have launched this, maybe next year some or the other cess they are going to add. So like earlier we had like Krishi Kalyan cess, or we used to have, let's suppose, this what to say, Swachh Bharat cess, education cess, higher education cess. So now they have removed all the cess and every taxes, and they made this GST, one GST they have made. Now again next year they will bring something and they will say that okay, add some certain sex cess. Excuse me guys, tongue twisting and all. So they are going to add this cess. So now what will happen if the government decided to add 2% cess, any cess, whether it is Swachh Bharat cess or education cess, higher education cess, whatever it is. So this cess is calculated on tax amount. Here 10%, government says government says 10%. So 10% is GST, 10% is GST, and 2% they have, let's suppose 2% they have added cess. Any cess, I'm not going to give any particular name, I'm just telling you. So this 2%, what will happen? This 2% is this 2% cess is applicable on this amount. Don't be confused. This 2% cess is applicable on this amount. Okay. So now here it means 2 rupees. So what will happen when we talk about, so here the calculation become bit critical. How this test 10% GST we are going to collect on this amount. This is the invoice amount, let's suppose. So for this 10%, it means for this 100 rupees, the base amount is this one. And for this 2%, this 100 become base amount. For this 2%, this 100 become base amount. In the sense, this 2% is getting calculated here. So, how to configure these things in SAP? And here tax calculation happens automatically. Simply we need to create a tax, we need to create a tax code. This tax code is going to calculate these all calculation. Tax code is going to make it automatically. Okay, here we are not going to calculate manually. 10% GST and 2% cess. Automatically system is going to charge on this amount. Okay, so how it will happen, how we are going to configure in SAP, that I'll let you know. So here if this is the case, let's suppose, then what will happen? Here the transaction uh, accounting entry will be customer account debit how much 1102 sales account sales revenue is going to be credited. So this is the total amount which customer is going to pay. Total amount which customer is going to pay. Now how much worth of sales we have done? That is of 1000 rupees only. And remaining amount is your tax amount. So in tax also we are having GST, 100 rupees, and cess 2 rupees. This is how the accounting entry will be. Okay, so customer account debited with this much, sales revenue 1000, GST 100, and cess 2. For everything a different GLs are there. So now what we have to do, now I am going to do the configuration. I'll let you know how we are going to uh, if we talk about simple GST, then it's very easy, nothing is there in that. So in order to make it bit, like I've added this cess here, so that if this is the scenario, then how, if you are able to understand this one, then GST, what to say, basic calculation is pretty easy, because right now we are having only GST amount itself, there is no cess. I have just go one step ahead, and I'm just letting you know, guys, if this is the case, then how we are going to create a tax procedure. Now let me log in first. Even in terms of purchase also, even in terms of purchase, again the accounting entry will be different. So when we talk about this configuration, we are going to do configuration for sales and purchase both. That's what here it is. The heading is also tax on sales purchase. It means configuration for input tax and configuration for output tax both. So when we talk about this calculation, like this 100 should be calculated on this. So that is the base amount. This 1,000 rupees become base amount. This 2 rupees is calculated on this amount. So what is called, for these all we have to set up a condition type. For these all we have to, here a different condition, for this one a different condition is there, this calculation, and for this calculation a different condition is there. So for this all we are going to define a condition type. Now here SAP has already given, for input also SAP has given us condition type, and for output also SAP has given condition type. Now what is this condition type, I'll let you know, and simply we are going to copy those condition types and we'll create our own condition type. So we required, during input also we required two condition types here, three condition types generally, and for output also we required three condition types. Now what are those condition types, I'll let you know. So use transaction code OBQ1, press enter. OBQ1, this is your first transaction code by which we are going to create our condition type. So SAP has already given condition type, that is for this base amount. This is called invoice amount, will be always base amount, whether it is sales or purchase, whatever it is, all the invoice amount will be, whatever the invoice amount is there, that is base amount. So now for base amount SAP has already given a condition type. Click on position. So this is a condition type given by SAP BASB. For this one we are going to have a condition type BASB. Now for this GST we are having, SAP has given, we are having two condition type, MWAS and MWVS. Now guys, this is on sales. Sales means output. Sales means output tax. So now for output we are having already a condition type given by SAP, MWAS. This is the condition type given by SAP. So just copy this condition type and I'm going to create GST1, and then here I'll do one thing. We'll create like this. I've created one condition type GST1. GST1. Press enter. And then again for sys also we need a condition type. So I'm just going to create GST2. You can copy this one itself and make it GST2. Why it is required, you'll be able to understand. Just see the configuration first. So we have created two condition type for output. This is for output for sales. Now if the same condition is there for purchase, then there also we need base amount will be anyhow. For base amount we are already having a condition type given by SAP. For purchase, like that is input, so we are going to copy the input condition that is given by SAP, that is MWVS. select this and copy and make it now GST 3, and here GST input tax, and then copy this one and make it one more for cess GST 4, GST input, make it cess, press enter. So these are the 4 condition type we have created. GST2, here also we need to change the this one and we can make it GST output. This is cess. Press enter and save this. So now we got 4 condition type, and then we have to create a tax procedure. Tax procedure will explain how the tax calculation is going to happen. The transaction code is /NOBQ3. Now here click on new entry and create TM01. A description can be given here. Save it. So this tax procedure we have created. Now select this tax procedure and double click on control field, and then click here on new entry. You can give step 1, 2, 3, 4, or is 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 300, whatever you want you can give. Generally people gives 100, and here condition type BASB. What I am going to do, I'll explain. Let me create first GST 1, and for 300 GST 2. Now few more configurations are there in this itself. I'll explain, but first of all I'll explain this one. Press enter. Once you press enter, all the description came automatically. Now these are the condition type. This is output. These condition types are for output. It means, as I said here, let's suppose for this 10% GST, this is getting calculated on this amount, and this 2% cess is calculated on this 100. Okay, so now here for 1000, that is base. For base we have already calculated, we have given a condition type here, and for GST, so calculation is required for this GST output tax and GST output cess. Base amount will be a constant amount. The calculation is required for this line and this line. So this GST calculation, just see here closely, have a close look, just listen carefully. See, this GST calculation is happening on which amount? On base amount. For GST calculation, here is the base amount. Okay, so what will happen? GST is getting calculated on 100 to also 100, because base amount means step 100 I have given. It means GST is getting calculated on 100. It means GST is getting calculated on this. When you talk about cess, then cess is getting calculated on which amount? On this amount. So for cess, the calculation will be on 200 to 200. This is how this cess is getting calculated. In the same way, so this is for output. This is for output. GST is getting calculated on this base amount. So 100, 200 we have given, and output cess is getting calculated on tax amount. So this become base for this cess calculation. So that's what I have given 200. So that here system will understand, okay, this amount will be calculated on this amount and this amount is calculated on this amount. Now here give another step 400, because this we have set up, these three we have set up for output. We are having output is nothing but sales. We are having purchase also. So GST 3 and then 500. Make it GST 4 also and press enter. Now here this become for input tax. So for input tax, GST also, input GST is calculated on base itself. So here also we are going to give 100 and 100. And then cess is getting calculated on this input tax. So for cess calculation, it will be 400 till 400. Save this. Save this setting. So this is how we have calculated the procedure. But as I said, guys, whenever system is going to post a tax amount, that tax posting happens automatically. It means system is going to derive the tax GL automatically. Now where is that setting and what we have to do and how we have to do? So first of all, for this every kind of taxes like output tax, output GST will be posted in a different GL, output cess is going to be posted in different GL, input GST is going to be posted in a different GL, and input cess is also need to have a different GL. So it means first of all we need to have 4 GL. First of all we have to create 4 GLs. Okay, once those GL are created, then I'll let you know how, what is the further configuration, how system is going to derive GL account automatically. So let me create GL account first. 4 GL I need to create. Click on new entry here. Okay, so many screens has been opened. Now we'll create GL account FS00. So we are going to create, first of all, what I said here, whatever input taxes are there, that is your asset. Okay, because that we are going to claim. Okay, whatever we have paid to the vendor, that amount we are going to claim from vendor, sorry, from government. And whatever we have collected from customer, those amounts we have to make payment to the government account. So whatever we have collected, in the sense whatever we have charged from customer, that is our liability, and whatever we have paid to the vendor, that is our uh, assets. So purchase means input and sales means output. So I'm going to create input GST, that will be created on your asset side. So just copy one bank GL itself and give the next GL number 1002. 1002, and here give any GST input tax. Save this. So this GL we have created, and once again we are going to create for cess also. So 3, and here also I have created 2 GL for input tax and for input cess. GST input tax, GST input cess. Now here what I have to do, so this is our asset. 2 more GL we have to create under liability, that is output tax and output cess. So copy any GL here itself, and this GL we are going to create under liability. So in liability we are having only one GL, that is GL number 2000. So what is the next number for liability? It will be 2001. 2001. Press enter. And then here account group we are going to rectify. Account group will be, the correct account group is liability, and it's the past part of balance sheet. And here instead of input we are going to make it output, and then copy this, going to paste here and press enter and save it. So I have created a GST output, and copy GST output and make it GST output cess also. Give this next number 2002 and make it GST output cess, and then save it. So now whatever the GLs, required GLs are there, we need to have 4 GLs. So those 4 GL we have set up. Input GLs we have created under asset account group, and output GLs we have created under liability. Now what is the next step? What is the next step? So next step will be, open one more screen, and we have to create transaction type. The transaction code is OBCN. OBCN is the transaction code. Why we are going to create this transaction type, that I'll let you know. First of all, let me create. So for input and output, already default transaction type given by SAP. So for input and output cess we have to create. So click on MAS. I think VST. Okay, VST is there. That is input tax. So just copy okay. We can do one thing. Copy VST and make it GS1, or else we'll do one thing here. Delete this. Save this. Click on position VST and we'll create, copy this input and GS3, and again GS3 copy and make it GS4. press enter. So GS4 means this is for input cess, and GS3 means this is for GST input tax. Save this. Come back. Now we are having, this is we have created for input, and we have to create for output also. So that will be okay. Here MWS is for output. So copy this one and make it GS1, and here make it GST output tax. Press enter, and then you can copy this one also and make it GST2, and here you can make it cess. Press enter and then save this. So we have created 4 transaction key also. We have created 4 transaction key also. And why we have created this transaction key? Because whatever 4 GL we have created, those 4 GLs are going to be linked against this transaction key. How to link this? I'll just let you know. /n OB40 is the transaction code. By OB40 we are going to link this GL. So now we have to search GS 1 2 3 4. So page down. See, we are having 1 2 3 and 4. So GS1, this is output tax. Double click on this. Chart of account TM01. Press enter and then save it. Click on save. Then system is going to ask GL account here, but we need to click on posting key first. Then give here 40 and here 50. Save this. Press enter. So once posting key I have given here, then what I have to do? Then click on account. Now click on account. So this is GST output tax. For GST output tax, what GL I have created? Here 2001 I have created. So I'm going to link here 2001. Press enter and save it. And then come back. Again, output says, double click on that and click on save, and then click on posting key first. Here also 40 and here 50, and then click on account. Yeah, do you want to save first? Of course. Click on account and give 2002, because here, see here output says we have created. Save this. Then come back. Now 3, double click on 3. Click on posting key. Oh, system is asking, okay, save first. And then click on posting key first. 40 debit and 50 credit, and then account, make it yes. Then GST input. What is the GST input tax? Number, click here on asset and see GST input 1002 and cess will be 1003. So here I am going to give 1002, save it, and for sys input sys, double click on that, save it, and click on posting key. Once again 40, and here 50, and save it, and then click on account and give your GL number, that GL number is 1003. 1003 GL number I have given here. For input says save it. So here we have assigned the required GL account against the transaction type. Now what is the next step? Whatever GL account we have linked, these all against transaction type. These transaction types are, see here, business transaction. Sorry, account key. Against here we are going to, yeah, here we are going to link this all whatever transaction type or so-called account key also against that whatever GL we have linked. So for GST1 we have created GS1, GST2 we have created GS2, GST3 we have created GS3, and for this GS4. And against these GS3 is not showing here. So now the remaining I'll be explaining in the next session, because here the error has taken place. Let me analyze the error, and we'll continue from tomorrow onwards from here itself.